I never thought I would talk bad about someone because they didn't murder someone. And I'm like, girl, do it yourself. Stand up for once in your life about something. Hello everyone and welcome to the vlog. I'm sorry about the lighting. It is doomy, gloomy, sad outside. I will turn this on. I don't think that helped. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I'm reading now in January. January might be my least favorite month of all time, and I feel like I'm not alone in this. January is just after all the holidays and everyone's just like being happy and enjoying their time and everything's just cozy and nice, and then January everything suddenly is like no longer cozy. They take down all the lights. No more Christmas trees, no more like holidays, no more like parties, no more. Everyone's suddenly like, oh, I want to be healthy. I want to like live a healthy lifestyle and have goals and ambition. And I'm like, winter is not the season for goals and ambition. You know, winter is the season for coziness and cuddling up with a blanket and watching movies. Okay? Those goals and ambitions, those can wait till spring. At least personally, those are waiting till spring, but I am trying my best to read a little bit more this January because I feel like last January was my worst reading month. I read like one book. I was in such a bad slump because January sucks and I don't know, I apparently did not feel like reading, but reading makes me happy, so I'm gonna try to read a little bit more so I can be a little bit less grumpy this January, hopefully. I have two books here that I want to talk about a little bit. I'm kind of in the middle of 3 books, so we're entering this vlog not really starting any books. I'm just talking about where I am in certain books, and you're gonna watch me finish them and then talk about my thoughts. The books that I'm in the middle of are One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I did pick this up because of BookTube, Book Talk, Book whatever, the online book community, and I was kind of scared going into this because I've heard some good things and I've heard some really bad things. The really bad things mostly coming from one creator, Plant-Based Bride, and I love her. I follow her and she makes amazing book videos, but mostly also bullet journal related videos, and she did not like this book. And most times I trust what her opinions are, but I hear a lot of good things as well on the book community. Like everyone's raving about this and everyone's like, oh my god, I love this. So I was just intrigued. So I had to pick it up for myself to see what my thoughts are. I'm also in the middle of An Iron Flame. I also have this from the library. This is at my parents' house, so I'm showing you guys here just a cover. This is book 2 in Fourth Wing, the series. It's been very hyped, it's been very talked about. I surprisingly just have 2 very popular books in this reading vlog because I feel like I want to read good books in January, and although I don't always trust the public in their opinion, definitely I feel like you can't trust what Book Talk and stuff says because they also promoted Powerless, which was something. I read that last summer and that was something. It wasn't good. That for sure it wasn't. It was not good. It was something, but definitely not good. So I'm a little bit wary and trusting the online community to always be right about how good books are. But I'm just gonna try to have a little bit of fun this month, and so I'm trying these books. I just started, and I mean like just started, like I think not even 20 pages into this book. Everyone in this room will someday be dead. This I just picked up on a whim from Next Story, which is like an online reading subscription app. But we do have one book that I recently read, and I thought maybe I could also share my opinions on it, what I thought about it. This is Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. This is translated from Japanese, I want to say. Yes, it is. In this book, there's 2 short stories. First one called Kitchen, and that's what this book is also called. The second one is The Moonlight Shadow. So first of all, I want to say I gave this 4.5 stars. I really like this book. I don't always vibe super well with a Japanese translated fiction. I read Sweet Bean Paste last summer, and although I did enjoy it, sometimes I feel like it's just such a different way of writing in Japanese that I feel like when you read it in English, it's not the normal way of like I'm used to seeing writing. And personally, I really like a little bit more poetry. And this book definitely had that. I feel like Banana Yoshimoto knows what it's like to be a sad girl who is lonely, because that's what her two main characters are about. They deal a lot with grief and the pain of losing someone, and mostly they are just sad and lonely, and they think about being sad and lonely and a lot, which I, as a I don't know, young adult girl, can relate to. The writing in here was really spectacular, and it's really heartfelt, and it felt really relatable in a way, I would say. And the stories were beautiful in a hopeful but sad kind of way. So yeah, I would recommend to pick this up. So I'm about 170 pages into this book, and what I'm noticing is that it's very easy to read. Not that that surprises me, but it just means that it's very fast paced. We're going very quickly, going from one thing to another. So far, I feel like I'm not really getting to know the characters very well because we're going so quickly. Like, we're not discerning in the events that things are happening. We're not like thinking about like what is our main character feeling right now? What are they like? It just moves very quickly into like, okay, that happened and now we're moving on to the next thing, and not like thinking too much about it, which is fine. But I do feel like I don't know the characters, and I'm already like almost 200 pages in. So yeah, there's not even a map in this book. Which I feel like that in every fantasy book there's a map. It takes place in Blunder, which is, I thought it was a town, but there's a king and like a queen and a kingdom. So it's not a town, but then I don't know if it's like a city. Is it like an area? Is it what is Blunder? Like, how big is it? So yeah, and I don't know if there's other nations. Is there other people? Are there, because they're talking about these woods, and it's like, are they surrounded by all of these woods? I can't really envision what's really going on. So it feels like things are not really worked out super well, but that's okay. You know, sometimes you would just want an easier read. You don't want everything to be super complex and hard, so that's what I would call this. Okay, I just finished One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. What are my thoughts? Good question. This book did not feel like the 400 pages that it was, which can be seen as a good thing and a bad thing, because I read through this book so quickly. I feel like I could have read this in one day if I wanted to, and if I had the time, I would have probably read this in one day. It's very easy to follow, easy to understand. Like I said before, it feels kind of like an easy, simple fantasy. And what I mean by it did not feel like a 400-page book in the bad way, I feel like a lot of this world could have been worked out better. I feel like we got so little information about everything in 400 pages, mostly about a lot of like the magic systems. I also think a lot of the characters are not really giving a lot of, which kind of bums me out because there's so many things that I want to know more about, but I feel like we get so little information and time knowing about them. I would give this, I think, a like 3.5, which to me means it was decent. It wasn't like my favorite thing ever. It was fine. It did what I think it set out to do. I did like the romance in this book. Okay, so I yap so much without really coming to a point, but basically what I want to say is I understand that a lot of people really love this book. I understand that people had critiques of this book, which puts me kind of in the middle. That's why I eventually gave it a 3.25, which it's mediocre to me. It was enjoyable. I did have fun. I did enjoy the adventure, the romance, the elements of this book. But I also understand that it could have been done better, probably in some aspects. And yeah, it does remind me a little bit of old YA, what I used to read, but I think nowadays I crave a little bit more from a book. It's a good book if you need to get out of a slump. So, yeah, if you're looking for that, then I would recommend pick it up. If you're looking for a complicated fantasy, I would not recommend this. Yes, now let me continue on to my spoilery thoughts. So skip to this time point if you don't want to, if you still want to read this book and you don't want to hear anything spoiler about it. Elizabeth refers to Raven so often as Captain of the Destiers or Destiers, I don't know how to say it. Which I do have to agree, she calls him that so often. It's starting to get a bit weird. It's like he has a name, not only a title, he has a name, and definitely like if there's more of like an intimate moment between them, and she's just referring to him like the captain of the Destiers, and I'm just like, you can also just call him Raven, you know, because you guys are having a moment. Beside that, we don't really find out what he does as captain of the Destiers. I feel like it's so often brought, like, this is such an important part of this person, of this character, Captain of the Destiers, but what does that entail? What does that mean? Because apparently, like, Destiers are bad people. They catch infected people, except we barely see any of that happening throughout the book. Raven is infected as well, and he suddenly out of nowhere says like, oh yeah, by the way, we don't kill the kids, you know, like, I'm the captain, but we don't kill the kids. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't kill the kids? That's the whole point of the Destiers, is that they killed the children, which is really bad. But like, so you're not doing it and they keep them somewhere safe, except it's never explained where they keep the kids. It's like, it's the like this whole thing of like, oh, I'm actually like a bad guy, but I'm not a bad guy, but it's never explained how he's not a bad guy. Also, like, what does he do all day? Like, what does Captain of the Destiers entail? Like, we never see him actually do his job very well. So, because he's always with her. And I want to know when he got his job, why he got this job. Did he have to fight for this position? Like, why is he the best man for this position? And there's just so many information that I want to know about Raven that we never get to hear. We don't know anything about Raven at all, except that he likes Elizabeth. And for the rest, I feel like there's so much we don't know. And that kind of bothers me because he's like another big character in the book. Also, Elizabeth, she's a little bit of an Elena type, I would say. Meaning, she constantly is like, help, 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 help. She's a little bit of damsel in distress. She does things on her own, but only through the help of the nightmare. I feel like she's not really smart in a way, get around the situation by like thinking of something clever. She's always like, fuck, I can't do this, nightmare, help me right now. And I'm like, girl, you could probably figure out a better way to get out of this situation than calling upon the nightmare. Also, she often looks with pleading eyes to other people, like, help me get out of this situation. And I'm like, girl, do it yourself. Stand up for once in your life about something. But she doesn't very often. And I still would like to say, not everyone can be the strong, kick-ass heroine that we feel like we see a lot today in the books. That's a stereotype of like, oh, the only way to be strong is to also be like physically very strong and to be very out there. And like, you can still be strong, but while still being soft and kind as well. But I feel like Elizabeth is a bit of a boring rock. She doesn't really have much personality. She's just scared a lot. And I understand. I would also be scared in a situation like this. But also like, girl, get it together. Get it the fuck together. From the people who have criticisms, I also hear that the second book is better, or they just enjoyed it more than the first. So I do think I will be continuing with the series. I'm kind of sick right now. I've got a pretty bad cold. That's what you get from working with children. And I got a headache. But I have my iced coffee right here. So I'm gonna yap about my thoughts on this book so far. I am 2/3 of the way in, meaning about 400 of the 600 pages I have read. And so far I am enjoying it. Not as much as I enjoyed the first book. The first book, Fourth Wing, I really liked. I thought it was really good. It gave me kind of nostalgic, like YA vibes, in the sense of it kind of reminded me of Divergent, and I was a Divergent kid growing up. You know, I wanted like the bird tattoos from Divergent so badly. For Halloween, I was Triss, you know, so it kind of gave me the similar vibes. And so I immediately really liked it. And now we're reading book 2, and things are getting a lot more complex. A lot of things are happening. I am enjoying it, just not as much. First of all, this book is too long. I already know this by now. I haven't finished it yet, but it's too long. Like, there's so many scenes where I'm kind of like, this could have been scrapped. This is not necessary. Please, like, cut some of these words. Definitely because she goes in depth to explain certain things to us, which I'm like, is this necessary? I don't know. Although I must say, I do like more information to less information. You know what I mean? I would rather have a 600-page book give me everything, you know, everything there is to know about something, than a 200-page book give me like nothing to work with. So I am enjoying Fourth Wing more than I enjoyed One Dark Window, because it just has more content to it. And also it's a little bit more complex, where One Dark Window is a simpler fantasy. I feel like this one it's not a super intricate fantasy, but at least it has like a fucking map and has different like places and cities, and they're talking constantly about different cities, and sometimes it's hard to remember everything that's going on, but that's what makes it like so rich, with like, oh, all of this history and these different languages and the different kinds of dragons, and like, you know, like it's there's a lot of information. But that's good. That's good. I did almost DNF the book because in the first 100 pages, maybe this is a slight spoiler to people who want to read it, but at the same time, it happens in the first 100 pages. So if you want to read it, you'll get to it very quickly. Violet gets almost like murdered and assassinated so many times. It starts to piss me off because I'm like, okay, I understand it. Everybody wants to kill her. She's important and blah, 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 blah. But I'm just like, it gets repetitive after a while. And I feel like just the author constantly wants to like grab our attention or something. Also, it makes me think they're dumb, because I'm like, hey, if this happens a couple of times, maybe put her into better protection if she gets murdered almost so many times, you know? So maybe they would handle things a little better and think about it, except of being like, oh, that happened? Oh well, I guess that's a one-time occurrence and not gonna happen again another 4 times. Yeah. Second point is, I have a little bit of beef with Xaden, or Ryerson. Yes, I think he's fine. I think he's interesting. I think he's, you know, he's the standard book boyfriend, the standard love interest. He's broody, he's dangerous, he's kind of has gray morals, you know, where you don't really know what he's thinking, and he wants rebellion, blah, 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 blah. Because apparently that's what we're into. And you know what? I'm not judging. I'm all for it. I'm all for the broody guys, for the anyone touches you and I will kill them. You know, it's wrong, very wrong. But, you know, secretly, we kind of love it. My problem with Xaden is not that he's like this. I don't care. My point is, he really isn't. He really isn't, in the fact that he's all big talk, but doesn't do shit. Because like I said earlier, Violet almost got murdered so many times, And you would think that, you know, like Xaden would do something about it, because he's constantly like, anyone pushes a hand on you and I'll kill them. Anyone tries to hurt you whatsoever, I'll kill them. And then, like, it happened. So many people tried to kill her. And he's just like, I'm so angry. Oh, they're talking about how Xaden was so furious and so frustrated and blah, blah, blah. But it, like, doesn't do anything really about it. Where I'm kind of like, you got big talk. You got big talk, but you're not willing to pull through when you need to. Like, you didn't murder anyone. I never thought I would talk bad about someone because they didn't murder someone. No, murder is bad. Murder is bad, but at least be honest about what you're gonna do and what you're not gonna do. Because in the series From Blood and Ash, there's also our main character, love interest, who's also like, anyone touches you, I'll kill them. And he actually does it. Kind of really fucked up, but he actually does it a lot of the times, where I'm also like, oh, that would be a lot of murders to, like, my name, you know, where it's like, oh, you're murdering because you love me and they did something bad to me and now they're dead. Okay, so those are my thoughts so far, but I will continue reading it and hopefully I'll be finished soon. I feel like very coincidentally, I'm again dyeing my hair. The last video that I posted was more than half a year ago, and I was then also dyeing my hair, and now I dyed my hair again, even though you can literally barely tell. I am not very happy. I wanted it to be more of like a coppery blonde, and instead it just made me have like this slightly strawberry blonde hair. You can barely see the difference. It just got a little bit more like gingery, but I wanted something a little bit darker so when my roots grow out it looks more natural, but that did not happen. So yeah, anyway, talking about the book, I'm at like the last 100 pages and I am struggling to get through this. I have found that it's starting to get boring and I just feel like I'm not very invested anymore. It's dragging out, and I'm just like, okay, let's wrap this up, you know? Let's give me something good, give me something interesting. My feelings are just a bit meh about it right now. And I feel like I might lower my rating a bit because, I don't know, I just feel like I have to drag myself through this book right now. That's not fun when you're reading, so. Hello everyone, I would have preferred to be filming this not in the ultimate darkness that it is, but I've had a really long day at school today. I'm a bit exhausted, but I wanted to tell you guys about what I thought about Iron Flame because I finished it last night in bed. I cried. I have evidence right here. I'm gonna try to keep it short because I am tired. We all know I won't be able to keep it short because I love yapping. So what are my thoughts on this book? I thought it was okay. I see why people like it. I personally thought this book might have a little bit of a second book syndrome, meaning that the second book I feel like is often not as intriguing, not as enjoyable as the first book. Personally, in general, I often like the second book more because we get a lot more character work. We get a lot more of a deeper dive into who our characters are, and I do feel like we got that in this book. I personally do enjoy the relationship between Violet and Xaden. I feel like their relationship is a little bit more messy than a lot of the other romantasy books because I often feel like those relationships are too perfect, and I like it if it's a little bit more messy. For the rest, my major thing that I thought about this book is it was too long. It was too long. It was dragging itself out constantly. Definitely in the last 100 pages, I had to drag myself through. even though it was supposed to be like the exciting parts, you know, like the last like 50 pages, 100 pages ish were very like exciting, I guess, things going on. I was just having to force myself to finish it. I did enjoy the book as a whole, I think. Yeah, it was just too long and too many things where I was just like, what are we doing? Okay. I gave it a 3.5, which is in my book kind of like yeah, this was good. Not my favorite, but it was good, I guess. Now if we get to the spoilers, I can talk about why I cried, because why I cried, and maybe if you could read it very, very well on the picture, I cried because General Sorengale died, Mira, Violet's and Brennan's mom. Next note in the next chapter is a recovered letter from her mom, and it says, "Most generals dream of dying in service to their kingdom. But you know me better than that, my love. When I fall, it will be for one reason only. To protect our children." Okay, I had to cry at that bit. I was just very sad because it was probably the mom writing to the dad, and the dad already died, and now she's like talking about like, if I'll die, I'll probably die because of our kids, and then she does. So the ending of this book, the cliffhanger, the twist, the ultimate twist, I do like it. I know some people did not like the twist because they were like, oh, this is ridiculous. Why is this, you know, why did this happen? This is stupid way to end this. Personally, I'm kind of like, maybe I will read book 3. Maybe I will read the next book because I do like a little twisty twist, but I'm not 100% sold that I will be continuing the series, because even though I loved the first book, gave it 5 stars, this one felt a little bit flat for me, and although it was enjoyable, I feel like there's just something lately with me with romantasy series where I like the couple first books, but then it gets to a point where I'm just like, I'm not interested anymore. Like, I'm bored. I am like, I don't know, things are just not really going in a direction that I find interesting or would want to continue reading. And it's made me a little bit upset because a lot of people are loving different series as well. With the series from Blood and Ash, I read the first 2 books and then I DNF'd the 3rd book because I was just meh, I'm not invested. And I don't know if it's becoming a me problem, if it's like I'm falling out of love with the genre, or if it's a writing problem, or if it's like a book series problem that I don't know, I'm missing something.
Voel, de psychologie der massa's. De Franse auteur Gustave Le Bon was een van de invloedrijkste geleerden van zijn tijd. Hitler had het boek van kaft tot kaft gelezen, net als Mussolini, Stalin, Churchill en president Roosevelt.
I want you all to appreciate the fit. Yes, we've got a really cute skirt, tights. We got the hat, we got the hair, we got the lips, we got the earrings. It's giving theater teacher realness. And I don't teach theater, I teach art. But I'm fulfilling the prophecy that I am art teacher. With the vibes, just the vibes, you know? Anyway, I'm gonna return all my books from the library because I finished them now all. I am a library lover, so I'm gonna return these and then probably get a new book. I don't know what I'm in the mood for, and that's really hard because I'm a mood reader, and I've had a couple times where I've gone to the library to cheer myself up to get a new book, and I'm so confused over what I'm in the mood for. I have no clear idea of what I want to read, that I just get frustrated and leave. Anyway, so I'm gonna go and return these, but first I'm gonna go and drink coffee with some friends. Also, we need to do like work. I'm coming here to say that I've decided to DNF Everyone Here Will Die Someday, something like that. I'm decided not to finish it because this girlie is stressing me out. I got to around 50%, I'm kind of halfway, but the woman that is the main character in this book, she clearly has ADHD, anxiety, maybe even OCD. She thinks about death a lot of the time, and she goes through these kind of mental rabbit holes. And I'm noticing, although it is very relatable, she's a very relatable character, she is giving me anxiety as a person who also has anxiety. Her choices and just the way that she thinks is a little bit too much like being inside of my own head. And the reason why I read is kind of to get outside of my own head. So I think it's a great relatable book, and I would probably enjoy it if it wasn't like a little bit too close to home. So I think I'm gonna put it down for now. I might finish it sometime in the future, but right now I'm just not, I don't really feel like spiraling, you know? Like, that's just not the mood. Like we said, January is already a hard month. Let's not add anxiety on top of that. So yeah, I think that's kind of where we're ending this reading vlog. I read 2 books, I started 1 book, and I DNF'd another one, so I would say you got a little bit of everything. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, let me know down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully it won't take me another half a year, but bye!